Hi and welcome in this Blender course. Learn how to model in Blender for beginners. So, first, I'm on Blender 3.4.1. If you want the latest version of Blender, you can go on blender.org and here you have in download the new version. Download Blender 3.4.1. So you can get the newest version of Blender. And also, if you just started Blender, you never opened Blender, first you need to get my free introductory course, Blender 101. In this course, I give you all the shortcuts, how to navigate the software, what to do to create a mesh, everything you need to know to really start Blender and start doing projects on Blender. And if you already followed my course, my free course, and you don't remember some stuff, you can go in support here. I will link you this playlist below, and in tutorial check out free tutorials here. And the first step here. This is really useful when you start Blender. You have all the navigation, the fundamentals, the viewport navigation, how to select, how to delete, how to add, how to make collection. You have everything, the knife tools, shading, it's everything fundamentals to start Blender. So you have all the knowledge here. And now that everything is done, we can start. First, we are going to set up the workspace for modeling, to model in Blender. When I open my Blender, you see there is no cube, there is no light, there is no camera, because I made a personalized Blender for when I opened the software. So how to do this? First, to model, for example, you don't need this. So you can right click and then join areas and go down like this, so there is more space in your window. Also, here you can change if you want to change. If you want to put, for example, 2 windows, you can do vertical split, do a split here, do whatever you want. Then join areas here. You can create new windows. For example, you see when my mouse is a little plus, you can drag up to create a new window. If you want to put again the timeline, you go here, timeline, and you put it here. And also to model, if I do Shift A, cube, when you are modeling, you need to see the orientation of the face, of the faces of what you are doing. This is outside, and inside the cube is going to be the faces inside. And you can see the orientation here, face orientation. And now it's blue. And if, for example, I delete X, this is inside and it's red. Now here outside is blue, inside is red. If you want to see this, you can check face orientation, because when you are modeling something, if some faces are red and some faces are blue, it's gonna be a problem after when you are doing some shapes, putting some modifier and all the stuff like this. So if you want, you can check this and you can change the color. If you don't want to see all your meshes blue, you can change the color in Edit, Preferences, and then in Viewport, in Theme, and then 3D Viewport. You have face orientation front, and then here you can put alpha like this, and now it is the normal gray color. I'm not gonna put this. Well, I did not save. You see here, we can put autosave. I didn't put autosave, so it is not saved when I open a new blend file. Like this. So you can put this. Also, what I have on mine is the cavity. You see the lines, the edges are a little white. I put here cavity, and this is really good for modeling because you really see all the edges of your mesh, and I think it looks better. This is why I activated the cavity here. And then you have the shading. Here, Shading Studio Matte Cap. You can put this if you want, and then click here and you can change it. For example, this is good. Sometimes I put this one or the red one because you really see the lights on it like this, so you can see the shape. If there is shading errors, if there is weird thing on your mesh, you can really see it. So you can change also this. I like to put the normal, the basic one, the studio. And then, really important, if you are working on a laptop and you don't have the numpad on your keyboard. I am working on a MacBook, so I don't have the full keyboard with the numpad. And this is really important to go to Edit, Preferences, and then in the navigation, the input, you have a keyboard here, and you see I have the Emulate numpad. So this means that when I type, for example, 1, 2, 3 on my keyboard without the numpad, the 1, 2, 3 up on the letters, I can go on the views. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, top view. And you see here it changes. If I do 1, minus Y, 3, X, and if you don't emulate the numpad, it will change on edit mode. You press tab and it changes here. I think if you do 1, it's the vertex, 2 edges, and 3 faces. And I prefer to do the views 1 here, 7, so it is faster when I am modeling. So you can put this if you don't have the numpad. And you can put this, emulate numpad, and also what you can do, because when you don't have the numpad, sometimes you have another keyboard with different, not on English keyboard, maybe you have another language keyboard, and you have problems with the hotkeys of some things in Blender. You can change everything in the key map here, and here you can change everything. In the window you see all of the hotkeys here, and if you want, for example, to create one, for example, to quit Blender, you can do another one, and you have everything here. I change one for the bool tool. We're gonna use this later. The boolean tool to create booleans on your meshes. And I think I changed the slash. I think the bar like this, the brush slice, I changed it because on my keyboard it doesn't work. So you can change everything here if you have problems. Now, with the add-ons, we are going to use add-ons to model in Blender. So the most important add-ons, here you can search. This is not really modeling, but it is very good to activate when you are doing shadings and stuff. It is a node wrangler. This one, we are going to use it at the end of the course to put materials on what we modeled. You can activate node wrangler, and then we also have the curves, the add curves extra objects. You can activate this one so you have more curves when you do Shift A add curve. You can activate this. Then you can activate also mesh extra object. If you want extra object on when you add a mesh, you have a lot more object. And then I talked about this, the bool tool, object bool tool. You can activate this to have all the hotkeys to make booleans super fast, and it's going to be very useful when we are modeling the, I think, the third object we are going to model. And then also, this is very important, is to activate, to change the undo steps. So I think it is in system, here in system, memory and limits, undo steps. You can put the maximum 256, so you can undo. When we do command Z to undo, here you have the hotkey to undo if you are doing something and you don't want undo. So you can really undo a lot of steps and save your project if you did something wrong. So you can put the maximum here. You can put also here. I don't know what it was, what number it was, but you can put also here. And now to save everything and open Blender with, for example, no cubes. If you want to open Blender with a cube, with a setup, for example, a specific light on your scene, if you want all of your scene to start like with, for example, three lights, so it really creates a good scene. If you want to open your file with a floor like this and a cube on the floor, you put whatever you want, a camera, everything, and you can save it. So when you open a new project, it is exactly like this with the cavity, if you put face orientation and everything, and also the little window. When you press a T, you have this, and also if you want the timeline, and also if you change, it is at first it is EV, and I change it to cycles because I want all my renders to be rendered by cycles. So I put this, and now to save, you go on File, Default. We want this by default, and you do Save Startup File. So now this exact page in this position is going to be saved, and when you open a new file, you create a new one, general, is going to be exactly like this. Mine is exactly like this. So now that it is all set up to start, we can start the first steps in Blender.